is happening, everybody? Welcome to episode number 34 of the Bards of Gaming podcast, where this week I'm sitting down with one of my most popular guests, my buddy Chris, otherwise known as Aeon Driver Gaming, to discuss the iconic launch title of the Nintendo GameCube, Luigi's Mansion. We had a phenomenal time talking about this game, and I really hope that you guys have a good time listening to this episode. If you like what you hear, leaving a comment, a like, and a follow wherever you're getting your tunes would very much help me out. And if you'd like to reach out to me with your thoughts on the game, you can always message me over on Instagram at thebardsofgaming. You can shoot me an email if you want to go find my email at thebardsofgamingpodcast.com, or you can shoot me a DM on X, where I'm a little bit less active, but I'm there. So yeah, if you enjoy all what you hear, I'd love to hear from you, and I'd very much appreciate some support. Anyway, so off the topic of the episode, though, I just want to leave a little bit of an intro and let you guys know what I've been doing outside of the podcast. So, as you will have seen if you follow me on Instagram, what I've been doing on the side is actually restoring a lot of my old Game Boy cartridges, especially the Pokemon ones, because all the batteries have run dry. So if you're interested in the process of me restoring my old Game Boy cartridges, please go give me a follow over there, and you can check out some of the videos that I'm uploading about the process of me doing that. I'm doing battery replacements, pin cleanings, cartridge cleaning, stuff like that. So if you're interested in all that kinds of stuff, go ahead and give me a follow over at the Bards of Gaming on the Bards of Gaming on Instagram. So that's really all that's been going on outside of here. I finally have a month where I'm not going crazy with school, so I'm taking this opportunity to play some other games, get some other episodes in line, and things ready to go. Right now, I just started playing the Division 2. I have a couple of episodes that I'm writing notes for right now, like running a blank. Oh my god, Game Dev Tycoon, thank you. So, yeah, I'm trying to get an episode of that one put out, trying to see if anybody wants to be a guest with me on that episode. But, yeah, so that's pretty much all that's been going on outside of the show. Thank you very much for listening to the show, and enjoy the episode. All right, what is happening, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of the Bards of Gaming podcast, where you will have heard that in the intro, but we are sitting here today with my buddy Chris, Aeon Driver. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing quite well. How about you?
I'm fantastic. I'm really happy that we're finally getting down to sit down to talk about Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, and funny enough, like that was exclusively the thing I played this week. So,
Dude, I'm thrilled about that.
yeah.
You texted me. When did you go to that game expo? Saturday?
Saturday.
You texted me at like what 10 a.m. and you were like something's peeking out of the bag, and you sent me a picture of Luigi's Mansion. I'm like, fuck yes, we're doing this.
Yeah. And honestly, like the 3 Super Nintendo Grails that I bought that day, I haven't even put in the Super Nintendo, but I beat this. So,
Dude, hell yeah. You well, you got some major gems. You got the XI at that.
yes, yeah,
expo.
the JVC XI. I tested it out, cleaned it up. Everything worked. Like it loads discs so quickly compared to a normal Sega CD. It's amazing. It's a little bit loud. That's probably due to its age, though. But it runs like a champ.
I was gonna say shout out to anybody who knows what the JVC XI is, because until you texted me, I had no idea.
Yeah, honestly, like I almost didn't know what it was just by looking at it. I was asking the guy I bought it from. I was like, "Hey, do you see many Sega CDXs come through here?" And he's like, "No, but I got a JVC XI." I'm like, "Can you show that to me? Like, I don't know what that is."
Oh my god. Yeah, I just actually it's so funny that like you got that on Saturday, and then I think Monday, because we're recording this right now on a Wednesday. It'll be uploaded Friday. So but Monday I was watching a video of that guy Retro Rick, and he went to this shop out in like Kansas or something, or Arkansas, and he found an XI sitting on like the bottom shelf of this dude's retro game store.
That's crazy. You know, fun fact is that there was only 10,000 of those sold.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and to see so many of them like in such rapid succession, it's kind of weird.
That is very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you give out that kind of number, like to see, because I mean, we got games like Chibi Robo and Billy Hatcher, which I mean, I'll talk about those ad nauseum on this show, just how rare they are, because Chibi Robo only sold 400,000 copies, but you never see it.
Right.
Like we're about to get an influx of people knowing about it because it's going to be coming to the Switch too, but you never see it like out in the wild. Same thing with Billy Hatcher. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg only sold 250,000 copies worldwide, and it was difficult for me to find one copy, one loose copy in Japan.
Yeah, honestly, like I was looking for that in the Game Expo that I was at. I was looking for that, Path of Radiance and Chibi Robo. And now I saw Path of Radiance, but of course the price it's going for, even though it's going to be on NSO eventually, it's still going a ridiculous price. So I just passed on it. I didn't see Chibi Robo or Billy Hatcher either.
Yeah, it's dude. My copy of Chibi Robo complete in box is my retirement plan. I'm just putting it that way.
That feels like my Fire Emblem collection right now.
Yeah, dude, you got some gems. But today we are here to talk about Luigi's Mansion for the GameCube, which, in my opinion, in my very humble opinion, I think is may not be one of the most iconic, but probably, in my opinion, one of the best console launch titles of all time.
You know what's funny is that like a lot of people wanted a Mario game like for the launch of the GameCube. They got Mario 64 and the 64, Super Mario World, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But then it didn't show up. Like Luigi and his vacuum showed up instead.
Yeah, which I mean, I can understand why in like 2001 that might be off-putting to a lot of people, and especially in a time when, console generation when you had three other consoles to compete with. It's like who the hell wants to get, the next Nintendo? That's for kids, blah blah blah. And but dude, Luigi's Mansion was so good. And in all fairness, like the mechanics that they used and showed off here in Luigi's Mansion are the same mechanics you got pretty much in Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And honestly, they probably used them better in Luigi's Mansion. Like controlling Flood, it got kind of ridiculous, especially when you were in like behind the back view. You were trying to just aim at stuff.
Yeah.
But controlling the poltergeist, that like the targeting kind of moved with you. Like it was very very kind to like run and gun kind of controls.
Yeah. I think that it definitely worked better at this like kind of 2D, like you're locked to kind of one fixed camera position. You can rotate Luigi with the C stick, and sometimes it's a little bit disorienting, I'll be honest. Like the up and down and side to side is a little bit hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
But I do believe, like, I think too that it definitely worked out better in Luigi's Mansion because it wasn't as fast paced and you didn't have to do actual vertical platforming with the fucking cannon.
Yeah, yeah, and I felt like it really like emphasized exploration as well. Like it was exploration above all else. Like you were of course opening up rooms and getting keys and stuff, but you were also like looking behind pictures. You were vacuuming up tablecloths. You were looking behind shower curtains. Like it was all just like it was like a big game of hide and seek.
Yeah. And the level of interactivity that you had with the poltergeist on just every object in the game, like it made you want to kind of fuck with everything. Like, it was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, and then like also on top of that, like collecting all the like the money and the gems and all that stuff, like even though in the long run it really didn't matter too much, like you were always kind of like moving things around and like and trying to like use the vacuum on everything just to try to get as much money as you could.
Yeah. And there's definitely like, I mean, we're just well, fuck the normal likes and dislikes. But like the I like that you had to interact with things two different ways and you would get two different outcomes. Like you could go up to objects and just vacuum them and make them shake, rattle, and roll and spit out an object, or you could go up to it and like push it, like press the A button and kind of like interact with it, knock on it or whatever, and a totally different outcome would happen.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that's not even counting the certain elements you can use on things like the fire and water and ice. Like even
Yeah.
then, some things would react differently.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a lot of like hidden secrets. Like it really does, like you said, it promotes exploration and like interactivity and finding all the little things. Because I mean, I thought I did a pretty good run through this game of finding all like the hidden gems and the cache and stuff like that. But when I watched your final fight, which by the way, anybody, I will, he did a perfect run, a no damage run at the final boss, King Boo, at the end of this game on his third try. I hate you.
And what's worse, I didn't even realize what I was doing until just about the end. And then that's the point in time where you're like, okay, now it's time to choke. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was so focused on just like getting this little bastard. Like, come on.
And there was a couple of moments like sidetracked to before I finished what I was saying, but like there was a couple moments in that fight where like you're like Luigi made the noise like he got hurt when ice touched him, but then you didn't lose any health. I was like, you son of a bitch. Like, you're cheesing it. You're
Right.
cheating.
I'm amazed that I didn't start screaming Mario in the middle of it, just like mashing a button I shouldn't have. There was a guy in one of my comments and he was like, "All right, you got to bust out the American flag, Ty. You're officially Billy Mitchell. I'm challenging this."
Dude, I was watching that with bated breath. I was nervous watching that fight. I already knew the outcome because I was talking to you beforehand, but like watching it, I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no way. Because I finished that fight with like 15 health.
Yeah, honestly, like the second try, I was down. I was literally down to one health, and then I got him down to his basically his last 10.
Yeah.
And then like I died. I got hit by. I guess I didn't hit the spike ball at like at a certain angle, and I ended up eating it instead of like sucking it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so now I can. I feel like I can do this, and so I was just really focused on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely talk more about that boss fight in a minute, but to say like I thought that I got a lot of the treasures in that game. I saw your score counter like on the Game Boy Horror at the bottom of the screen,
Yeah.
and you kind of blew me out of the water with that. I I didn't get nearly as many.
You know what's amazing is I didn't get an A though,
What did you get?
a B.
Oh, you suck. I got a D. Like I thought. I mean, I kind of blasted through that game. I finished it in under a week in my free time, and it's not a very long game.
It's not. No. Like they did a really good job of splitting up 4 areas into like manageable chunks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very well paced game. I definitely give it that.
Yeah.
It doesn't chew off too much of your time at any given time, and the mansion is pretty easy to navigate. It's not that big. Like I remember playing this when I was a kid, and I had this game when I was like 7, right? And at that age, I was scared of it. You know, I was scared of the jump scares and the ghosts and stuff like that. But I also remember the mansion being a lot bigger and a lot more ambiguous and a lot more mysterious. And like going back to it now, there was definitely parts where I ended up having to pull up a walkthrough because parts of it were a little bit like not explained. But
Yeah.
it's not that big. It's really not. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like
Yeah.
in the shape of an H.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the big like one of the big things about getting through the mansion is I know there was one part where like it would be just a direct like upstairs to downstairs, but that door downstairs stays locked the entire time up until the very end. And it's
Yeah.
just like so you're gonna make me trek through this whole mansion from bottom to top around the back before I can get to this door the entire game. Which I mean, but it does give you an opportunity, and I feel like they did it on purpose to give you an opportunity to go back and try to find the booze that you wouldn't have had beforehand
Yeah.
because they don't tell you about it until later.
Now, I wonder a couple of things with this game. First of all, that back staircase that you're talking about in the back right of the mansion that goes up to
Yep.
the attic or up to
Yep.
the second floor. You said you did unlock a door to get to that staircase easier?
So not until so the at the end, up until the end, I think there was that locked door that was right in front. Like when you
Yeah.
go to that back staircase and then
On the main
like
floor.
on the main floor, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a locked door that's like locked all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's either that or the top or the second floor, but I'm pretty sure it's the first one because I kept trying to get through, like it's just an easy way to get there.
Yeah, because
And
to get around it, you have to go to the backyard, walk all the way around, then go through the gym.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, And I don't think either it opens at the very end or it just doesn't.
I was gonna say because I
But
could not get that the whole game.
yeah, and I just found it very weird for it to be like a perpetually locked door the whole time.
Yeah, I did notice that there was one room. I think it was a room on I think on the main floor that even at the end of the game, I never got it. It stayed gray the whole time.
Was it
Maybe I
the
missed.
was it the door that was accessible by the mouse hole?
Yes, I totally missed
Yeah.
that.
Honestly, I almost did too, but I was just like, I'm missing a freaking boo, and I don't know where it is. And yeah, it was accessible by a mouse hole, and I think it was like the upside down. No, it wasn't the upside down baby room. It was something else. But yeah, it like I had to go back almost towards the end of the game, and I realized that it was like you had to like point the Game Boy Horror at that, and then have it suck you through like you did the dog house.
Yeah, I never saw that. Okay, so I might have to go back and just check that out and do the boss fight again because I missed 3 boos by the end of the game. Did you get all 50?
I got all 50. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know that there was one in that basement room with all the dust piles that I just didn't care to get because I didn't care to vacuum up all those dust piles for like the billionth time. But
Yeah.
I missed one there. I definitely missed the one in that room, and then there was one somewhere else. I didn't care to look.
There was
Um,
so the one with the dust room, how I got that one a little easier is like there's two corners of the room where there was like an upside down panel where you can go upside down
yeah.
and just I just took advantage of that and was just tracking him through the that little mid part upside down the whole time.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, because otherwise I could because that room I have it written here as one of my dislikes. That I only have 4 things written down here in my actual like dislikes panel. Um, that room is one of them because if you've never played this game and you don't know, there is one room in the basement where every time you leave and re-enter, there's like half a dozen big dust piles on the ground that you can't walk over or around, and you have to sit there and try to aim your vacuum at them just right to be able to vacuum up the dust, just to be able to get through the room. And that is an essential room you have to get through multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just walk into the dust pile either. Like it has to be specifically aimed at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the aiming mechanic in this game, I mean, it's a great mechanic, and I'm really glad that they came out of the gates with that. But again, being locked to the 2D, like you're locked in that fourth wall.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard sometimes to articulate yourself properly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you're like towards the end and you're getting these 300 health point boos that will
Oh,
continually go back and forth between the rooms.
yeah.
And like I think there's one boo called like, Boomerang or whatever, right? And he just spends the time just going through these rooms in almost a circular pattern as
Yeah.
long as you have them well actually even if you don't have them unlocked. And it's just like it's disorienting, especially when as soon as he sees you, he immediately starts booking it to the other room. You're like, I just got my bearings here, and now you're already leaving. You're like, you
Yeah.
douchebag.
Yeah, you'll sometimes maybe knock like 10 health off of them.
Yep, basically, yeah,
Yeah. That's that the booze, like hunting the booze for the most part was a pretty cool mechanic that I did enjoy seeing in the game. And it gave you something, it gave you another thing to collect, it gave you another thing to kind of hunt for. And it was fun. And one thing I liked about it too is if you happen to get one, it's an automatic save point.
yes,
So that is great because if you don't find the boo and catch it, then the best way to go, really the only ways to go and get save points is to either find a room with a mirror, take out your Game Boy Horror, take a picture of the mirror, and then it'll teleport you back to the foyer, or find one of the toads that's scattered around the mansion that you find and rescue, and then they act as your save points.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, the one in the backyard too, you can actually hurt yourself
Mm-hmm.
trying to open up the door to talk to him, which happened to me a couple times.
Yeah, especially when you're on low health, that's definitely not what you need.
Yeah, it's like thanks, Toad. You're such a pal.
I mean, if you just vacuum the door from kind of far away, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
I do like that there's a lot of like fake doors in this game. It's kind of a cool mechanic that, you can't trust everything you see. And you can kind of be like, oh, well, it's, the doors that have the little carpet going into the room, like those are the safe ones. Not always. Like they
Right.
just fuck with you. Like they're just there to fuck with you.
Oh yeah, there's so many times where I kept bringing up the map just to make sure I didn't, like, especially when you're at low health, like you don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah.
So you're just going into a room, bringing up the maps, like, okay, that's the door, and then,
Yeah.
then just in case, bringing it up again.
Yeah, because if anybody, hasn't played the Luigi's Mansion games, like that, you're walking through these hallways in this haunted mansion, and say there's 10 floor or there's 10 rooms on one floor of the mansion. Well, there's 25 doors. So you have to you have to pull up your map and make sure that, the door that you're standing in front of is actually there on the map, because that'll be the one that's safe to go into.
Right. Yep.
But it's I love the little trick mechanics in this game like that. Um the ghosts that come from the ceiling and throw the bombs at you and shit, they're just annoying in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And
Um
some of them, like, I felt like it was, you had to be pretty quick on the flashlight to poltergeist ratio. Like you spotted them, but like the moment you would pull the poltergeist out in order to get them, it'd end up being like it'd be done,
yeah.
and you would be able to get them. But they only had, I think they had 0 health to begin with. It was just getting that initial hit off was the annoying part.
Yeah. And I will say this as well, like if anybody hasn't played this game, the way that hunting the ghosts works, think of it kind of like a mix between Alan Wake and Ghostbusters. So like you have to shine your flashlight at the ghost and it kind of stuns them and it makes their heart pop up with their HP counter, and then you have to use your vacuum to quickly grapple onto the ghost as you try to like suck them into the poltergeist vacuum on your back. And that is, I think personally, I think that the ghost fighting mechanic is a lot of fun.
It
Until you
is,
get
yeah,
overwhelmed.
for sure, yeah. And there'll be sometimes where you get lucky and you can get multiples at once.
Yeah.
But if you don't hear like a symphony of thumbstick clacking, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I never really understood. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I never really understood uh exactly how the mechanic was supposed to work. Like Professor Egad says that you're supposed to use a combination of the left stick and the C stick and kind of, point away from where the ghost is facing. So I always just kind of tried my best to, move the C stick to whatever the opposite direction of where the ghost was facing was, and it worked for me. But
Yeah,
I feel like I
I
could have
kind
been
of just
better.
rocked it back and forth. Like I just kind of rocked the direction stick like back and forth,
Yeah.
and kind of like along like the corners. Like let's say if he was in the upper right corner, just the bottom left, and just kind of rocking it between down and left, and it kind of just like it would stack up the points pretty quick.
Yeah.
C stick though, I didn't really use too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I used it to aim initially, and then after that, it was just like I was just went ham on the left thumbstick.
Oh, I don't know. You again, I feel like I could have been doing it much better. Maybe I should have been using the C stick more. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't struggle that much. Like the only fights that I can think of that I really struggled on was, I mean, it was really just the toy soldiers.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
the
think
only
I
one,
got
and that's
lucky
just
on that
because
one.
it's a fucking pain in the ass.
Right. Yeah. Um, I think I got lucky on that one. Like, I think I was talking to you about it before,
Yeah.
and I was able to get 2 at once, like right from the beginning, and that kind of made it easier for me. But I could see if I wasn't that lucky at the beginning, it would have been, especially because they're shooting at you at all times, and
Yeah.
so if you focus on one, then you have 2 just aiming guns at you.
Yeah. No, it's that fight, in my opinion, was definitely the worst in the game. I actually don't have that written down as a dislike. I have a couple of other things, but that was the worst fight in my opinion. I mean, it was cool. Like, okay, I love all of the different fights. I love how each, portrait ghost is kind of like its own puzzle, and you have to figure out, what makes the ghost tick to a point where, its heart will pop up and then you can stun it and do whatever. Because until then, you'll just be in the room with this ghost. They're not actively hunting you. They're not, chasing you. They're not mad at you. They're just existing. And then you have to find some way to trigger them and then go along with the fight from there. But I loved 95% of them, except that one.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think the one that I liked the least was probably the upside down baby one. I forgot what
Really?
their name was. Yeah, and it was only because because you had to make them wet the bed, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
But but once you had them, like it was just for some reason I was having the hardest time avoiding like the toys that would fly at you
Really?
and trying to hold them at the same time. And then that made me lose him, and so I would have to wet the bed again, and and then like try to catch him. I eventually got him. I got him the first try, but it's just like, why do these things keep hitting me? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got lucky with that one because I don't think I got hit by any of the toys flying across the room. Oh wait, was that the one with the plane and the car?
No, no, that one was that's the hide and seek one where they're hiding in the presents or whatever, and then you
Yeah,
yeah, this one was like the whole room's upside down.
yeah. No, I remember the upside down one. I did not really have much trouble with the one with the hide and seek one though. That one was also kind of a pain. Just because
Yeah.
you had to, very similarly to the toy soldiers. So the toy soldiers had these, like the wind up knobs on their back, and you had to vacuum those off before you could stun the ghost to try to suck them up. And if you didn't get all three of them, whichever ones you didn't get stunned would aim their cork rifles at you and then shoot you with that, which would knock you off of the one that you're actively attacking. So it's you have to really try to get all three of them at the same time if possible, or try to your best to avoid them while you're attacking another one. And the twins, or like the hide and seek twins, they like one will fly around in this plane and then one is driving around on this car, and you have to try to vacuum whichever vehicle like off of them, and then you can attack them. So it's similar mechanics, but like implemented in a different way. And yeah, it's very much a pain in the ass when, like, say you vacuum the plane out of the air and you're going to attack that one, but now you have some fucking race car scooting around your feet, and it's like it knocks you on your ass, and you're like, God damn it!
Yeah, yeah. I felt like I had to prioritize the car just because he was always on the ground the whole time.
And he's
But
faster.
yeah, and he is faster. Yeah, yeah. Like I tried to go for the plane first, thinking like, oh, well, the plane's just gonna like dive bomb me or something like that. And then he
Yeah,
would like the car would always clip me, and I was like, okay, you little bastard. I guess I'll get you first, and
yeah,
then move on to the plane, and that worked way better.
yeah. Agreed. Yeah, that, like, I think the toy soldiers, the hide and seek twins, and the ice room in the basement. Those were my three least favorite portrait ghost fights.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's the ice cream one was not the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, just because, I mean, who likes to play on a slippery floor? Like, literally any game that has a slippery floor is just kind of annoying.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, and they always, and especially in Mario games, they always tend to like put at least one of those in there.
Always. Dude, it's a staple mechanic of video game design. I feel like even like in my classes, when we're having to design levels and design mechanics, they're like, even the teachers are like, don't do an ice floor. Like, just don't.
Right. Like no one's gonna like you for this.
Yeah, like it's just annoying. Like you could do better than that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Um,
I wish Nintendo would have thought of that. I just like maybe we shouldn't put an ice floor or a desert level in things. Like maybe we should avoid that.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, at least the way that Nintendo does it, I feel like they theme an entire area to it, and it's more than just an annoying mechanic. So I kind of like when they do it. Other games are just kind of like they're just adding a slippery mechanic to make it more difficult. It's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I was playing a Ratchet and Clank game more recently, and I feel that's exactly what happened. Like it was just the same thing except for with a slippery floor.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
gets frustrating, and it's kind of just like, all right, guys, like we're beating a dead horse here. Can we just be done with this already?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I like that in this game in Luigi's Mansion, at least they only made it one room. Like they could have easily made it like the basement, but they decided not to.
Right, right. Or somehow made like the outside like snowy or something like that and turned that into ice or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like giving you a pond in the back or a fountain or something like that, a fountain fight.
Hmm.
Yeah, they could have done a lot more with it. I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have something listed here as a dislike, and this one is my biggest dislike for this game. I have a lot of love. I want to praise this game, but this one just says that there were a lot of times where I was confused on where to go, and I needed to pull up a walkthrough. Um, like when you first get the flame ability,
Hmm.
and you like in the big mirror room, and
Yeah.
I was actually very unsure of where to go right after that. And even right now I can't remember totally off the top of my head. It was very like ambiguous because I remember you finish that fight, you don't get a key at the end of
Yeah.
that fight, and you have to kind of figure out where to go. So you go back into the room before that where you have the fortune teller and you light her candles and you end up talking to her. And even then you're kind of just like, where the fuck am I supposed to go now? I think it's after that where you go out to the backyard, or out to the kitchen or whatever. But I don't remember. But like that one I didn't like where like I didn't like having to pull up a walkthrough for that. That's the first time I had to pull it up. And then the second and last time that I actually had to pull up a walkthrough was when the power goes out.
Oh yeah, yeah. And switching the brake. So the only reason why I didn't have to with that particular part is because I ran into that breaker really early, and
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I can't touch it now, and the power goes off, and it's like, oh, okay, now I can do it.
Yeah, well, I
But
thought to myself, like, to go instantly to the breaker, which is, of course, on the complete opposite side of the house from where you're at. But you can't just go there and flip the breaker. You have to go literally to the furthest point of the house from where you are when the power goes out. And you
mm,
have to fight Uncle Grimsley in
yeah,
the whatever. And it's like you get the hint saying, oh, he likes to be in a room with full of mirrors. So
yeah,
my thought instantly is, oh, let me go back to that giant mirror room where I got the flame ability because that's the biggest fucking mirror in the house. But no, they want you to go upstairs to the second floor and then all the way to the wardrobe, which has like
yeah.
one mirror in it.
You know what's funny is I thought that was like when they dropped that hint. I thought that was just like more of a completionist thing, and they're just like, "Oh, if you want to get this guy, he's only available now."
I could
And
see
it's
that,
just
yeah.
like "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll complete it if you're telling me to do it. I'll go ahead and do it now." I didn't know that it was actually required, so I went and did
Yeah.
that first anyway, just thinking it was just some bonus shit.
Yeah, no, that's actually required because like I tried to go into because you can't the breaker room is locked
Mm,
until you defeat him. He drops the key so that you can get into the breaker room and unlock and turn the power back on. Um,
gotcha. Okay, so I did
the,
things in the right order on accident then. So
yeah, exactly. There are quite a few optional completionist objectives though during the blackout. I looked at like when I was looking at the walkthrough, they mentioned it, and it's like those fast ghosts that like only appear once in a room. During
mm,
the blackout is your time to get them again. Um, and also like there's these golden mice that like golden
yes,
ghost mice that go around, and that is your time to like try to get those. Uh, I think that's the only real like completionist shit that pops up during the blackout, but the blackout is so aggressive. I just wanted it
yes,
over with.
yes, yeah. There is not a point in that mansion where you just don't get completely ambushed by things.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to walk. Like, I didn't even bother trying to fight any of the ghosts because when you walk into any room or any area, it's not just like one or two ghosts that gets on you. It's like five or six. It's
Mm,
like,
yeah, yeah, and it's all like the ones that'll like hold you still or punch you in the face real quick, and it's just Like you think you can get through like the first few rooms, but then you get overwhelmed in every room you're in, and it's just you're just running from that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because when the power goes out, you're standing in the telephone room up in the attic, and the first thing, like, you're safe in that room. So actually, I fucked up when I first did that. So here's my whole story of the nightmare that was me walking through the blackout house like 3 times. Uh, so I make it to that room and I hear the first phone going off. There's 3 phones in the room, so I go to the one that's going off in the middle of the room. I pick it up, and then I think it's Toad saying like, "Oh my
Mm.
god, the power went out" or whatever. So I'm like, "All right, bet I know where the power breaker is. Let me just go and take care of it." So I ignore the other ringing phone like a jackass, and I walk out to the hallway, out to the roof, and as soon as I get to the roof, I'm instantly bombarded with like 4 ghosts. I make my way across the roof, back down, all the way through the house to get back to the basement. Go to the basement, find out I can't get in the room. So what the fuck? So I walk back up through the house to go back into that room, pick up the other ringing phone. Now it's Professor Egad saying, "Hey, the power's out. We need to find a way to turn the power back on." So I'm like, "All right, bet. Let me go back to the room." So I go all the way through the house, back to the basement, find out, fuck, it's locked again, go all the way back up. And I'm like, okay, now I'm back in the telephone room for the third time. Where am I supposed to go? So that's when I looked up the walkthrough and it said, "Oh, you need to go find this dude." So now I go all the way down to, instead of just reading the rest of the paragraph, I'm like, all right, let me figure this out. So I go all the way down to the first floor to that big mirror room, find out he's not there, and then I'm like, motherfucker. So I read the rest of the paragraph, and then it's like, oh no, you have to go up to the second floor from the foyer and go all the way back into this room. I'm like, I want to be done with this so goddamn bad.
It's like, why didn't I just read those next 2 sentences?
Dude, for real. Like I walked through that house during the blackout like 4 times. It was infuriating.
It's worse than like going back to a Resident Evil mansion for like the second time, because you only get ambushed by those zombies like twice at most, and then if you kill them, they're done. But these guys just keep at you. Like
Oh,
you can suck up as many as you want, and they're always going to keep coming.
they're relentless.
Yeah.
But like, I think the lore, like, of the game is actually pretty fun. Like the story, it's so short and sweet,
Hmm.
but it's so fun, and it's like it's easy. It's like Luigi wins this mansion. He gets a flyer in the mail. He won a mansion, so he goes to this mansion and he shows up at this horrendously haunted property, and
Yeah.
Professor Egad shows up and rescues him from an attacking ghost. And then Professor Egad is just like, "Dude, I've lived here my entire life. This whole mansion just popped up like 2 days ago." He's like, "I don't know what's going on, but we got to figure this out."
You know what was funny as I was explaining to my brother like that whole premise, like Luigi won a mansion or whatever,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Wait a minute, nothing good ever happens to Luigi." And I'm like, "Well, that's the premise of the story."
That's the point.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I could definitely see how, like, I mean, you and I were talking about this the other day, like over text or whatever, when we were playing Headliners, and I could definitely see how this game could put off a lot of people pre-release, because the last time before this that the world got a game where Mario was missing was fucking Mario is Missing,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
was not a good look.
The old edutainment section there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and like there wasn't really much that Luigi did in the 64 days. He was in Mario Kart and I think Mario Golf, Mario Tennis, and Mario Party, but he didn't have like a game where he would go out like an actual Mario game. And so to see him like headline like a launch game no less, and it's just like wait a minute here, like
Yeah.
where's the Mario game hat?
Yeah, and Mario was such a non-existent character in this entire game. You find him in a painting, and then it's like, okay, I have to rescue my brother. But
Yeah. And then, like, the only time he's actually in his own form, he's just being laughed at.
Yeah, really. It's but I mean, I gotta say though, I loved this game. I loved all the little details that they stuck in, like when you're walking through the backyard for the first time and you're walking past the well and you hear
Yeah.
Mario screaming and you're like, wait a minute, like what the hell is that?
Hmm.
So you jump into the well only to then find this like hidden tunnel that leads to the secret treasure room, and that's where you see King Boo admiring his painting of Mario. And you're like, oh shit, my
Yeah.
brother's stuck in a portrait.
Yeah, and it was kind of like like you could tell that he was very visibly scared
Yeah,
like during that point, and he's just like, "What have I gotten myself into?" kind of thing. And then like he has to like hurry up back out of it.
yeah,
Yeah, it was definitely cool to see like his own story and kind of like him actually do something about it, you know? Like eventually you go back to that room and you confront King Boo there, and that's when
yeah,
like the whole last battle happens. But like at first it seemed way more intimidating just peeking through that little mouth hole.
for sure. Yeah, you kind of just like don't know what to expect, and also like the you're seeing that grand treasure room, which is such a different vibe from the entire rest of the mansion. It's just like, oh my god, like is this what's being hidden under this mansion?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because it's
for
not like you're
sure.
just looking through a window either. It's like you have now gone underground to like a secret hidden entrance. Like you're peeking in on
Yeah.
something.
No, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and it's like it does have a different vibe, and it's kind of weird. Like even the approach to the room is very different than
Yeah,
actually being there.
yeah. Did you ever find the secret treasure room from the attic or from the roof?
Yeah,
That was kind of
yeah,
cool.
I did. It was like one of the falls in like one of the chimneys, right?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
could, yeah,
yeah, and it leads you into that room that like if you're walking around the second floor, it's like boarded off and you can't get into it ever.
yeah. And I actually did that on accident because I did a lot of things on accident in this game. But like I was looking for the treasure chest that you unlocked, like by completing like the roof part,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I went up the wrong ladder. Like I went up the
Okay.
one on the right instead of the left, and that's how I found it.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up I got the chest correctly the first time, and then I was like, that can't be it. And I just started walking around the entire roof looking for like anything else, and then I saw a second ladder. I'm like, oh, what's up here? And then I fell into there, and that kind of led to it. But
Nice.
yeah, no. So like, do you have anything else that you kind of like? I don't know, that kind of grinds your gears about this game?
To be honest, the like the ghosts that kind of pop up and like bomb you are the ones that pop up from the roof. Like you have to like see stick and maneuver the flashlight in order to target them. And then once you finally target them, like they're gone almost instantly.
Yeah,
And I felt like and then they never it never really counts towards anything. They're just there to be an asshole.
yeah,
And I felt that like that got in the way a lot when I was trying to explore. No, I mean it's probably on purpose, but I just felt like what's the point of you besides just being an ass? Like there's no you're just popping up. You want me to find you, and the moment I do, I can't even like get you unless I'm super lucky.
yeah. I could definitely agree with that. Like, it's a good thing though that the only times you really encounter those ghosts are when you're walking through the hallways, and then
Yeah.
when you're doing the painter fight.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I forgot about the painter fight because that was a kind of a like a boss gauntlet almost. Like it
Yeah,
kind of brought you through like everything you've been through thus far, which I thought that was kind of cool. A
yeah.
little unexpected, but I was like, okay, well, okay, we're doing a gauntlet, let's go. But honestly, there wasn't a whole lot that I got annoyed with really. Like I wish the money like counted towards more than just a score. I think it was the only other thing because I
Yeah,
was addicted to collecting that stuff.
yeah. I like if they had kind of implemented some sort of uh upgrade mechanic for the poltergust, like better range, better suction, something like that. Like that would have been cool. Like that would have been a cool use of the money, or even something as silly as like, oh, spend this money to upgrade the gallery or something.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. Like that would have given you something to work towards. At no point in this game, because this game is so short and sweet, like at no point was I feeling like I was missing out on potential mechanics. I mean, I do have written down here that I think that the gravity flip mechanic was kind of underutilized, but that's not really that big of a deal. Um,
Right. Yeah.
if
Because I
they
mean, you
had
only do
tried to
that a
use
couple
that
rooms.
more, it would have been annoying.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Because yeah, you only use it in a couple rooms, and then like for at least one of those rooms, it's optional. Like you don't necessarily need it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. But like about the painter fight, like I know that you said that it was kind of annoying. Um, I thought it was actually kind of cool because of the lore behind it. Like that's if you think about it, that was your last portrait ghost of the entire
Yeah.
game. And the whole story, like the reason why he was who he was, is because all those ghosts, and the reason why they are limitless is because he's the motherfucker making them. Like he's bringing those paintings to life. So once you get rid of him, now there's no more ghosts in the house.
Right, right.
And
I almost kind of felt annoyed at him because he did that. I'm like, so you're the bastard who keeps doing this.
and it's like once you get all those ghosts gone, though, he's the easiest fight in the game. You just kind of grapple onto him.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's pretty much a gimme once you get through that gauntlet.
Yeah, but I thought the gauntlet was kind of cool, and actually, I thought it was easy. Like the first couple rounds of ghosts, I struggled with a little bit, especially the very first one, which is like those orange ghosts that kind of punch you in the face.
Yeah.
I hate those guys, but they would surround me, and I would be doing my best to kind of like get one at a time, and then I realized halfway through all the paintings, like okay, if I between rounds, if I kind of walk away to like the furthest corner in the room from the painter, when they spawn, they'll all spawn in a group, and I'll just walk up and vacuum up all three of them.
Yeah, I wish I'd done that. I like for that and the last fight was the only time I actually got like comboed. Like I would get hit, and like the moment I got up, someone was already there with their fist in my face. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, I didn't know we were playing a fighting game, guys. Like, what's going on?
That's how I was with the toy soldier fight. I could not catch a breath. Like that's the only fight besides the boss fight that actually killed me. Was the
Oh,
toy
I gotcha.
soldiers.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Like the Bowser was the or King Boo was the only fight I actually died in, but I can definitely see, like I said, if I didn't get so lucky, it probably would have been that fight too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you definitely got lucky with that one. I remember you texting me, you were like, "Dude, that was a cakewalk." Like you were done with it so fast. I'm like, you fuck, I hate you.
Just like a grandma's boy scene. Like I got the high score. Did I do something? Did I break it? Did I win?
And I'm over here just like cursing at my phone, like this guy, right?
Like this motherfucker.
Yeah. But some of these fights were so cool, I think. Like I loved uh I mean, dude, like the portrait goes like the way that they're animated and the way that they're drawn is so different from everything that Mario has ever been up until this point.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was so cool seeing these characters that you've never seen Nintendo take that art style before, or really since, unless it's another Luigi's Mansion game. But like just the way that some of these portrait ghost fights worked, like the fat guy eating on the table, like you had to
Hmm.
vacuum up his rice, and then get rid of the ghosts that kept bringing him food, and then only once you've gotten rid of all his food will he be pissed off enough to come after you. And
Right.
then the like the dancers, I thought that room was so cool with like the spinning floor.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
So my favorite would probably be the painter was good, but I think like the weightlifting guy was
I fucking hated that guy.
Dude, it's just
Ah,
like I was like, oh, so I can hit this punching bag into him and it'll knock him over, but it won't let you catch him just yet. Like you have to hit him multiple times. And I'm like, all right, I don't mind hitting the Christ out of this guy with with the punching bag. Sure, let's go.
you got to vacuum up Professor Creatine over there.
Right? He's like that ghost is so swole, man.
Dude, well, the problem that I had with that fight is the fact that that punching bag swings both ways. So
Yes.
like through so much of this game, I was my own worst enemy. I just kept killing myself, like, or not killing it, but I kept hitting myself.
Yeah, and like really, like they don't really tell you you're like immune to that, right? You just find out the hard way
Yeah.
that yeah, that happened to me once, and I'm like, oh, lesson learned. Okay.
Yeah, that fight did not kill me, but it got very, very close, and I believe I ended up leaving in the middle of it because
Okay.
I got down to like 10 HP, and I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna finish this." So I went over to the secret hidden graveyard, and used all of its HP that I could find there, and went back, and yeah, that punching bag just kept coming back and hitting me. I don't know how I could have done it differently.
That graveyard was a game changer when you told me about that, though, because I kept trying to go to these spots again in like 10, like little 10 hearts all the time. And
Yeah.
then, like, when you told me, like, oh, you can just go back and get the health there, I'm like, oh, word? So I
Yeah,
just,
and it's all the time. Like no matter if you just leave the room and go back, it's back there again.
yeah, that was like, honestly, that's before I did King Boo. Like, I was like, let me hit that graveyard up one more time. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, the only two places in that game, or three places in that game that I know are continuous HP, sources are the graveyard, the safari room chest over in the corner,
yep.
and the middle shelf in the dust room in the basement. You can get I think a
Okay.
big heart from
Yeah.
there.
I went to so if you go to the backyard, there's like one or two of the statues there. They'll always drop one there too. But it's
Okay.
like yeah, so I literally just like on the way there and on the way back, like if I remember going to the backyard, and you go through the backyard a lot in order to
Yeah.
get to like the back staircase, I would always just hit that up. It's like, I could use a little bit of health and just hit the statue and grab a heart from there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think one on the roof too, like one of those Pegasus or unicorn statues, I think on the roof
Yeah.
also drops a small heart, but
That was an
um
annoying fight. I should have said that.
oh.
The one that splits up into a bunch of little ones at the ice.
It
Oh
was it
god.
was cool, but it was so annoying.
Yeah, it's just because like it's they like some of them, especially towards the end, would move so fast. So the only way you could really get them is if you like shot an ice cube at them,
Yeah.
and like they would just aiming with the C stick at that point in time,
Yeah.
knowing that one direction went one way, one direction the other, and I would always mess it up. I would always get it backwards,
And
and it's
that's
like just
definitely like
yeah,
the hardest fight to do that with because that's
yeah,
also like I think that's the only fight in the game except for I think it's the only fight in the game where like the camera is actually put even higher. So now you're really looking down at Luigi. So now getting the perspective of the poltergust aiming up and down is very difficult.
yeah,
So
yeah,
when you finally burst the boo on the unicorn and you have 50 boos scattered all over the place or whatever it is, trying to aim at the ones that are now up in the air flying away, that was fucking hard.
yeah. And I felt like part of the screen was always cut off when I was trying to aim at some of them too. Like I felt like it was almost like an isometric kind of angle,
Yeah.
and there was always like the bottom like left hand of the screen was always kind of cut off, so you couldn't really see like they were going around behind you trying to get them. And I think that the way the angle was in the camera kind of just hurt that a lot.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this: did you take advantage of the right unicorn or the left unicorn?
The left one.
Dude, same.
Yeah. I tried to do the right one just because I was chasing a few over in that direction, but I was like, no, we're going back to the left one. Like
Yeah.
this is my spot now.
Yeah. Um, I'm thinking like I don't know why I just started thinking about like the architecture of the house and like the way that things are laid out and looking at like my likes list. Actually, one of the things that I have listed here is the theming and the world design and like the architecture of the house, and I loved it. I mean, I really did. I loved all of it. I loved how each room was very much its own personality,
Yeah,
fitting for each different portrait ghost. Like, you would have the bathroom for, you have to. I love that one fight where you had to freeze the water for the showering ghost, and then
yeah,
that would piss it off to come chase after you. Um,
yeah.
but I will say one thing that doesn't really make any sense to me. Why the fuck are there pillars on the roof during the Bowser
Yeah.
fight?
Yeah, and I feel like it's just like, oh, look what he can do. He can knock these pillars over. Like
Yeah, I'm like,
that. Yeah, that was the only reason why I think they're there is just for him to knock over.
yeah, like they didn't really do anything. I mean, I guess maybe to get in your way a little bit, like when you're trying to go after the spike balls, as if you're not already disoriented enough, because
Right. Yeah.
the pillars are also like kind of see through. But
Yeah. It's like you like they almost intended for you to use them for cover, but they never worked for cover.
yeah, like I don't know. Me personally, I think that they should have themed that a little bit more like chimneys.
Yeah.
That would have made
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, no, exactly. Instead of just random pillars. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like it's like I felt like they they didn't really serve the purpose that they intended for at least.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just splitting hairs here, but that's just like something I just thought about. I'm like, that's a little silly.
Yeah, yeah. But you are right though. Like every room kind of had its own personality. Like even the small rooms did. Like even like random bathroom with like a ghost that pops out of a toilet. Like that even had because like you could only really approach that particular room is if you had like the fire
Yeah.
and or else he would just beat the crap out of you. And like I was like, so even the bathroom has its own like gimmick. Like, are you kidding me? So
Yeah.
yeah, the architecture was great, and I felt like just to kind of piggyback on that, like all the ghosts felt like they had like a certain story about them. Like they
Yeah.
didn't really have to explain it too much, but they were all like very different, and they all kind of had their own kind of thing going on with them.
For sure. And it's like, and I love that they had ghosts of all different, ages and different kind of themes. And like, yeah, you have, Uncle Grimsley, who's just kind of like this narcissistic old man ghost who loves to look at himself in the mirror. But you also have the lovers, the dancers that are, waltzing all day and night, and then you also have the twins that love to be mischievous and hide in their toys and do whatever. But you also have like there's so many different ghosts with different personalities. And yeah, it's like it kind of feels like it's not just a haunted mansion, it's a haunted home.
Yeah,
Like
it's not a haunted house; it's a haunted home. Oh my gosh! I mean, you're right though. I mean, but yeah, like like even early on, like when you meet like the grandma, like the nana that likes to pull pranks on the other person you're gonna be like capturing in the shower. That's how
yeah,
you
yeah,
figure out the whole ice thing. It's like, oh, I tried to pull a prank on her or whatever. And even like with the way you fought her, like you shot yarn balls at her. Like you were playing with her
yeah,
basically because
yeah,
you wanted to play. But yeah, like it was really cool, like the amount of personality that every little thing kind of had.
yeah, for sure. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, that grandma ghost with the rocking chair, that kind of creeped me out. Like just
Yeah,
I don't know what it
honestly,
was.
I could see that. It got to the point where I'm just like, why aren't these yarn balls staying in the stupid vacuum so I can shoot them at her?
Yeah.
And then I think my the creepiness kind of took over with like, okay, I should be beating her ass now. What's going on?
Yeah. Like, what was creepy about it to me was just like every other ghost, whether they have legs or not, animates themselves in a way that's like, believable that they're kind of like or at least were a human, character, sort of.
Yeah.
Her was just like, she was just fucking sitting there. And the rocking chair was what was doing the animation. It was just like, I didn't like that.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly.
But
And there's a couple of things too, like like one of the first ones you run into, where you have to kind of like sneak up on them on like the right or left side or whatever.
yeah,
And even then, like you saw like the chair and stuff moving by itself, like and then the ghost would just pop up as soon as you stopped looking at them.
yeah. Yeah, I mean this game, I gotta say, like this game really is. I love it. Like that, I had a lot of fond memories of this game as a kid, and I was once I kind of went back, and I mean I've been talking to you since the day that I started getting back into like retro games and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
this was one I wanted to play again. Like I haven't played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, or whatever it's called, the one on the 3DS yet. I have it, but
Yeah.
like Luigi's Mansion 3, I never beat it. It was cool, but it just wasn't. It wasn't this. Like
Yeah.
this game is just wrapped up in such a nice little package, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, like this is the first time I've ever played this Luigi's Mansion. So it was kind of a breath of fresh air to me because I was so used to like Mario games as they were, right? And this was kind of different. This was like very different compared to like a typical Mario game.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's definitely a sidestep. 100%.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that they did it really well. I think that it was a super charming experience. It wasn't overly creepy. There weren't like, you know, a lot of gimmicks. It was just very like a very pure experience. It was just fun, I think
Yeah.
and I mean the GameCube is definitely an underrated console. And for them to come out of the gates, like I said, with this game being at the helm was kind of risky. It was definitely a gamble. Um, Granted, in the that generation of consoles, like I said, where they were up against three other consoles, the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 2, and the Xbox, it was potentially harmful that they did that. But I think that a lot of people overlooked it, and this is really one of the best games on the GameCube.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like especially the GameCube coming out in 2001, like I was already going against two systems that had established libraries, and you
Yeah,
also had like Microsoft and its Xbox coming out like around the same time that the GameCube was
yeah,
coming out. So it's kind of like you had the Dreamcast with its already established library. That's as big as it was ever gonna get, and then PS2 was just a powerhouse, and it was only getting better by the year. And then
yeah,
GameCube comes out, like certain like I guess the PS2 was embracing like the DVD technology. You have the Xbox embracing the internet, and the GameCube kind of was only its own little. It was one of the first consoles where it was in its own little island. Like it kind of is now, and it kind of always has been since. But like this was kind of like the start of that we're doing our own thing kind of
yeah,
thing. And yeah, to have something like Luigi's Mansion go up against a game like Final Fantasy X or like something like Dark Cloud or like Halo or stuff like what I mean, like established like IPs,
yeah.
and to have Luigi's Mansion be so different when it needed to be exactly the same and then still pay off, I think was pretty cool.
Absolutely. And I think that you and I should do an episode just talking about consoles and just an open discussion about consoles because I mean I want to love the GameCube so much. And I mean for my money, I mean granted now you and I have talked about consoles a lot in our personal time. I've never played a Dreamcast. Anybody listening to this, shoot me if you must, but the I think of between the Xbox, the PS2, and the GameCube, I would much rather go back to playing a GameCube.
I feel like the GameCube had the charm, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the Dreamcast has been my favorite console since 1999. It has been my jam. Like, I have
Okay.
almost every game for it, and it's just been like a go-to. It was the first console that I personally bought with my own money.
Yeah.
So
That
I
says a
felt like,
lot too.
yeah, yeah. So it will never not be my favorite. Like I have a complete in box, brand new Dreamcast controller like on my desk right now. Like
Nice.
that's yeah, and it's green too. So,
Ooh.
but but the thing is the Dreamcast had like they made so many mistakes. Sega did kind of getting off the beaten path that led to the Dreamcast. That like it was doomed to fail.
Yeah.
But the PS2, it was the brand new technology. Like it had all the games for it. Like certain IP or certain brands were bringing certain IPs to it, and it was just the powerhouse. And then of course you have Xbox being the most technically like advanced thing. Like
Yeah.
it had an internal hard drive. It had, of course, DVD playback. It had onboard broadband connection. All this stuff. But none of them had like the charm that the GameCube brought.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody's gonna show up to a party. Like if I showed up to a party and they had a Dreamcast, a PS2, a GameCube, and an Xbox, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna play party games. Pick a console to play it on." I'm going with the GameCube, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard to be not to pick the Dreamcast because of the things that I like to play. But like, if someone brought that little purple lunchbox with them and like a spice orange controller, I'd be down.
Oh yeah, yeah. Get four people together, play some Mario Kart Double Dash, play some Mario Party, play some Smash Brothers Melee. You know,
Yeah.
it is the ultimate couch co-op machine.
Oh
At
yeah,
least
for
back
sure.
then.
And then even then, it's still, you still had Fantasy Star online.
Yeah,
You got the broadband adapter with that, and you could play that all day. I mean, and then Resident Evil 4, that was the first console that Resident Evil 4 was on, and
that's true.
yeah, and it set the bar for even modern, uh, survival horror games.
Yeah.
So like it broke a lot of barriers, that little lunchbox did, and then I honestly like that's why it's so beloved now. That's why it's so expensive now. It's because people slept on it and
Yeah.
they realized just how good it was later on.
And it's kind of crazy that like to say this again, I mean they came out of the gate swinging with Luigi's Mansion, and then they moved on to having such an incredible lineup of like not only first person but also 3D wow, not only first party but also third party platform games, other survival horror games like you said.
Hmm.
Like just thinking about platformers alone, which I mean that's kind of what Nintendo, in my opinion, has always been. Like that's their bread and butter, like platform fun games like that,
Yeah,
action adventure and platform games. And like just on the GameCube alone, you had some of the Spyro games, you had Mario Sunshine, you had Tyler Tasmanian Tiger, yeah, Tyler Tasmanian Tiger. Like there's a bunch, Billy Hatcher,
yeah.
and
They
even
brought
later
Sonic
on when
Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 on there. Beautiful Joe was another
yeah,
one that was on there.
oh
Like
yeah,
it was definitely it was, and they were all kind of unique. Like there was a game called PN01, or it was like Project Number 01 or Product Number 01, something like that. It was a Capcom beat 'em up, but it was like you were doing it to a rhythm, and that was the first like I'd ever seen of that, and it was on the
that's pretty
GameCube.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we'll have to save the rest of that conversation for another episode because I definitely want to dive into more of that with you. But to wrap up Luigi's Mansion, you got anything else?
I think I got over everything I wanted to. Definitely a great first attempt at it. Like
Yeah,
I didn't know how much time I was going to put into it until I beat it. So
yeah. And you beat it in just a few days, like which is kind of what
yeah.
we both kind of expected.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was on it. Even considering that, like, I'm still playing Dragon Quest 3, and I was like, you know what, I'll stop this for a little bit and play this, and then I got all the way through it, and I'm like, oh, back to Dragon Quest, huh?
Yeah, it's a nice little distraction. It's a great, it's a great game to go back to even. It's like
Yeah,
I beat this before a couple times, but I was just so excited to go back to it. And it is just that nice charming little ghost game that, it doesn't take too much of your time. It doesn't, give you too much stress. It's fun, it's quirky, it's goofy, it's got, it's got its jokes, it's got its personality. It's got a lot of personality.
yeah,
Um
yeah,
but yeah, so
yeah. It
what would
honestly, like, it was Luigi had one of the best games on the system, and it didn't even have to be the year of Luigi.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I'm thinking to rate this, we do it on a scale of 50 boos. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, because I was thinking either that or we could do it off of like 75,233,000, whatever score you got at the end of the fucking game.
The big money.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
out of 50 boos, what would you rate this game?
I would probably do at a 50 booze, probably 45. Like it's pretty
Oh,
high up there.
damn, yeah. No, that was you rat bastard. That was gonna be my score.
I mean, honestly, there wasn't a whole lot to complain about. There was like a couple like quirks here and there, but it was generally a solid game, especially for the first time of them doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, like this game could have absolutely just kind of been looked at as more of a tech demo, but it really wasn't. They didn't make it that way. Like this, you could tell this was kind of a trial run for how they were going to build Super Mario Sunshine. Like in retrospect, like looking at the two of those games put next to each other and the way that they handle. this was very much like a how are the people going to respond to this new control scheme with with a backpack attachment that you have to aim and blah blah blah. Um, and it killed it, dude. It did
Yeah.
fantastically. I mean, for me to give this game a rating, I have my dislikes that I said earlier. My things that were frustrating. Like I personally failed the final boss fight twice, two or three times, and having to walk through like almost the entirety of, well, not the entirety of the match, but like having to go back through the basement and all that shit just to get to the boss fight, go through the cutscene and load it up. It takes like 5 minutes just to get from the foyer to the boss fight. Like that's kind of annoying. The fact that I
Yeah.
had to kind of look up a walkthrough a couple of times, like I needed to because I had walked all of the mansion a couple times, could not figure out where to go.
Yeah.
That loses points. And then the toy soldier fight, like it was annoying, but by no means unplayable.
Right.
But like all that being said, I'm gonna give this game a 44 out of 50 boos. Um, I'm
Took
glad
a boo
you did
away, huh?
not have what's that?
I said, took a boo away.
I did take a boo away, and it just makes sense that I have fewer boos than you because you did get them all and I did not. um, but yeah, I think that's my score. I'm standing by it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty sound score. It has its reasons, and I mean there's not, it's not like they couldn't improve upon anything there because there were some things they could improve upon, but I mean it was still, I mean honestly, like for the first outing, it was a solid outing.
Oh, for sure. Like this game, like I said, it is a lot of fun. I mean, if any of you listening have not played it, I highly recommend you do try to find a way to play it. And it's a GameCube game. It's a first party Nintendo GameCube game. It's not going to be cheap if you want to get it on its native hardware. I think I paid like $70 for it on eBay, just because there was no way I would not have this game in my collection.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but if you gotta ROM it or whatever, like I don't necessarily support ROMing, but I get it with Nintendo shit. it's
Right.
impossible.
It's
But
if
yeah,
it's a Nintendo title, it's going to be expensive, basically.
dude, I hope this comes to the Switch too. I really do.
Well, I mean, it's especially with NSO, it's a possibility.
Yeah, like we already have Wind Waker. I'm actually really surprised that they put Soul Calibur 2 on the Switch 2 before Luigi's Mansion.
Because it was an opportunity to play it with a D-pad that's the size of a D-pad, not the size of a nickel.
Yeah, like I'm definitely I don't remember. I don't remember all the games that they had listed. It might already be announced that it's coming to the Switch too, but I don't remember.
Oh, the only thing I was paying attention to at that point in time was Path of Radiance, but I mean, I might have missed it too.
Dude, I was paying attention to Chibi Robo. I can't believe that. I'm gonna get my copy graded now that I know I don't have to touch it anymore.
Oh yeah, for sure. Absolutely would.
But anyway, listen, this has been a fantastic conversation. I very much appreciate your time. Buddy, do you have anything to plug before we sign off of here?
So, I'm going to be at Southeast Game Exchange in July. I was at the Giga Game Expo last weekend. To my surprise, I'm going to be in Southeast Game Exchange in July. I want to say it's like mid-July, 16th to 18th, somewhere around there. I also got my hands on a set of Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering boosters that I'll be doing a full unboxing of. Like, I'm just going to rip the whole thing. So I'm
Ooh.
going to do that on YouTube, and I'll put a little preview of it on Instagram. And that's just AN Driver Gaming. No matter what you look at, if you go to YouTube, TikTok, or that, it's just going to be AN Driver _ gaming, and you'll find me there.
All right, sweet. And I'll definitely be sure to leave links for all that in the description of this episode, as well as in the Instagram and social media posts where you can find this. Um, so awesome. Thanks, buddy. And with that being said, I very much appreciate all of you listening, and I love that you continue to listen to this podcast. If you would like to reach out to me, or if you have any love, hate, comments, whatever, I would very much appreciate to hear all of them. You can find me over at thebardsofgaming.com or thebardsofgamingpodcast.com, where you can find links to all my socials, including my Instagram at thebardsofgaming or my X or Twitter at 2bardsofgaming. You can also occasionally find me over on Twitch at Robert, spelled Robeair. And that is pretty much it for me. So if you very much enjoyed this episode, I would very much appreciate a follow, like, and a comment. So thanks again. See you later.